Jeanie Moore. I'm former Vice President of Corporate and Continuing Education for Rowan-Cabarrus Community College. I will say that Pillowtex, I can't believe it's 20 years and we're still talking about Pillowtex, because 20 years ago we thought it would be a fleeting project, that people would forget about it, move on, and that it would have a minimal impact on the college. However, it probably became one of the hallmarks of, it's certainly the hallmark of my career, and I like to think it was a hallmark for the college in that it allowed the community to see the community college for the asset that it truly was. It defined our mission and our purpose as a community college, but it forced us to define our community. And our community was not just people who had graduated from high school and who had a career plan that involved getting a degree or diploma and going on to university. It also, for us, created opportunity for wonderful partnerships, not only with our local school systems, other colleges, universities, city and county governments, political leaders, foundations, nonprofits, workforce boards, employment security personnel. But it gave us the opportunity to really see that it took the village to make a difference in what had happened when this large entity was no longer at the forefront of our economic survivability. And so Cannon Mills had a wonderful history in our community, across our service area, particularly in Rowan-Cabarrus counties. At one point, there were 30,000 people employed by the mill, and by the time the Pillowtex closed in 2003, that had diminished to 5,000, but 5,000 was still a huge number of people who needed a place to land. And so how do you make that happen? And you can't make it happen in a vacuum. So it required a lot of communication, a lot of negotiation, a lot of ego putting aside, and folks really saying, how do we best serve these citizens? So sometimes that meant giving up, and sometimes it meant taking charge. And we emerged, we were a little battered and bruised at the end, but we came out with a deep respect for each other and each other's mission, each other's role. And when we were invited to Philadelphia in 2005 and were honored with the U.S. Department of Labor Workforce Innovations Award, which is a huge honor for us. So the public schools, the Community Service Center, the Employment Security Mission, which is now Workforce Development Solutions, I think that's what they're called now, Central Workforce Development Board, State Employment Security Commission, the system office, our other community college partners, they were recognized too. And so it's really, to me, showcased the value of having networks, having resources, having friends, having colleagues, having people who were willing to put their goals behind others. Let's see how we make this work together. Let's not see how we can outdo each other. And we emerged stronger and better for it. And I think as a consequence, our community ended up stronger and better. So I take a lot of pride in that. And it certainly was not anything that one person did or one person led. We pulled on experts from all over the place. We pulled in past community college administrators to help with the project. We pulled key people from Pillowtex to work for the college. We depended on our governmental leaders. We went to our philanthropists, and we pulled strings everywhere we could to try to bring folks together in a unified way. And so that, to me, is really what it's all about, is that partnership, that communication, that collaboration, and that willingness to move forward regardless of who was going to benefit from that. And so that's is a challenge I think we have as a world now, is how do we get people to talk together in the same room, and how do we get them to put their egos aside and do what's best. And so I hope that we're still a lesson for others, that they see that as a positive instead of a minus. And I know that it would not have happened the way it happened, and we would not be where we are today if that had not been in place. So I'm grateful for having been there. I can't believe that we've survived 20 years, but when I look at Kannapolis now, I see the fruits of that labor, and those fruits continued to grow after I exited the picture. And so I see even greater things going forward, and I hope we see this same kind of thing replicated across our country.